Well, once again, we say welcome aboard. It's good to be with you at this time. Brother Mund speaking. Our program here called Fisher Mund's 5-Minute Look at the Book. Hey, thank you for being with us. During our broadcast week, we do have a Monday through Friday on most of the stations here, morning, noon, and night. I'm not for sure. I cannot tell you when it's aired, but I'm glad that you've allowed us into your home. We've sort of took what do we say? A little thought, a little theme. In fact, it's two words in the Bible, and sort of made some comments on where those two words are used. I think that's very interesting, and I think it's very, very important. In fact, one thing could be the difference between health and sickness to you, as far as your responsibility there. You know, one thing could be the difference between heaven and hell. You said, Brother Mund, what are you talking about? This week we jumped first of all with David. And David in Psalm chapter 27 said, "One thing I desire." He talked about how that he wanted to dwell in the house of the Lord. He wanted to be close to God. Jesus talked to a young man that had a problem. He had wealth, he had morality, he had religion, but Jesus said, "One thing you lack," and that was his trust was not in God. His trust was in his riches. And you need to beware of that. In the book of Luke chapter 10, Jesus was visiting Mary and Martha. And he talked to Martha and said something like this: "One thing is needful. Martha, stop. Come sit at my feet." There was a difference between work and worship. Yes, our responsibility is to work. I understand that. That's my responsibility, but I need to make sure that there's a time where I sort of obey the Lord, the sense of a run of a day. Wayne Mund, yes, sir. Come sit at my feet. Yesterday, John chapter 9, Jesus healed a man that was born blind. And this blind man said something like this. People questioned him as to how this happened and all the paraphernalia that was there. And he said, "I can't answer you. I don't know how to answer you. This one thing I know, I was blind. Now I see. One thing lacking, trust in God. One thing desired, to be in the house of the Lord. One thing needful, to worship. One thing known. Oh, I can see." What about today? The book of Philippians chapter 3. This is for me and you today. Philippians chapter 3, all the way down to verse 13. He said, "Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do." What? "Forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before. But this one thing I do." Are you listening? This one thing I do. All right? What is Paul saying? The past must stay in the past. Yesterday is yesterday. Tomorrow and today we labor and trust God, all that he might use us. All right, the past, leave the past in the past. The Apostle Paul writes this because of his past. Can you imagine what, as far as the devil is concerned, every once in a while maybe Paul would be praying and the devil would maybe bring back to mind some of the horrible things that Paul was responsible for. Paul was an enemy of Christ, had Christians beat, imprisoned, and killed. This is so important. Are you listening? This one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind, put it under the blood. That's what God did. My sins are gone. It's under the blood. Are you listening? The past must stay in the past. So very important. And without putting the past in the past, you'll never have any Christian victory. Satan will just hang that in front of you all the time. One thing I do. Leave the past in the past. Are you listening, sir? Ma'am? One thing. And without that one thing, that could be the difference. Oh, some people could omit one thing and lose their health. Some people could omit something and their, as far as provision is concerned, their needs would not be met and they would face poverty. But victory versus defeat, the only way to be victorious as a Christian. One thing. I do. Forgetting those things which are behind, reaching forth unto those things which are before. The past must stay in the past until next week. Fisher Mund saying goodbye.